You ever notice how some houses look like they're made of dreams glass, steel, sunlight pouring in every direction when really, behind those shining walls, it's nothing but darkness? I know because for a while, I lived in one. Ethan Walker's mansion was the kind of place people drive by just to stare at, snapping pictures through the gates, whispering, "That's the architect who designed half the skyline." But if you could have stepped inside during those years, you'd have seen something no glossy magazine would ever print. A man who could build towers to the clouds, but couldn't find his way back to his own son. After Loramie's wife died, I lost her in a flash of headlights and broken glass, and Lucas, our boy, just vanished into himself. He was 6, the kind of kid who used to fill the house with laughter, so pure it made the sun seem brighter. But after the accident, it was like someone unplugged him. No words, no laughter. No, Dad, look at this. Just him in his room, staring out the window, clutching that little silver car Laura gave him. I threw everything I had at a doctor's, therapists, more money than I care to admit. We tried art therapy, animal therapy, even one of those places where they make you promise not to tell the press. Nothing. By day, I played the role people expected the man with blueprints in one hand and a fountain pen in the other. By night, I sat outside Lucas's door, listening for any sign that he was still in there. Sometimes I'd reach for the handle, but I'd freeze. It's one thing to face a boardroom full of billionaires, another to see your own son look right through you like you're made of glass. I remember one night, just sitting in my study, that photo of Laura and Lucas smiling at me from the wall. I could barely look at it, like their happiness was mocking everything I'd lost. The staff tiptoed around us, afraid to breathe too loud, as if even the walls were mourning. And every morning, I'd stand by that giant window, coffee going cold in my hand, watching the sunlight crawl across a house so empty it hurt. And then she walked in, Maria Evans, dragging an old suitcase like it weighed 1,000 pounds. She was hired as the new maid, quiet, polite, the kind of woman nobody notices in a mansion like ours. The thing is, Maria had a past. The kind of past you don't talk about in job interviews. She used to be a therapist for kids real good, from what I found out later, but one bad accusation ruined her life. She lost her license, lost her own little girl, and changed everything but the sadness in her eyes. Maria promised herself 3 things when she walked through my door: no attachments, no curiosity, no crossing the line. But on her first morning, as she was mopping the marble, Lucas peeked out from behind the curtains, watching her like a ghost afraid of the living. Maria didn't chase him, didn't talk, didn't do anything but hum a lullaby so soft you could barely tell if it was real or just the wind. That tiny thread of a song somehow, it stopped Lucas in his tracks. He didn't run. He didn't cry. He just listened. The next day, Maria found his glass of milk still sitting on the table. The cook told her he never touched it. But that night, Maria poured a fresh glass and set it where she'd seen him sit. No big gesture, just a quiet signal. I see you. The next morning, the glass was empty. And for the first time in years, the house didn't feel quite so heavy. Day by day, Maria kept up her silent routine, leaving a glass of milk, opening the windows to let the sun in, humming softly as she worked. Lucas started following her, not close, but close enough to watch. No words passed between them, just these quiet exchanges, a handkerchief folded by glass, a toy car left near her cleaning bucket. They built something between them that didn't need words, just patience and presence. One day, I caught a glimpse of them in the garden. Maria hanging sheets in the sun, Lucas watching her, his toy car spinning in the dust. Something in his eyes had shone a flicker of hope. Maybe, I'll admit, it knocked the breath out of me. I thought maybe, just maybe, we were coming back from the brink. But you know how every story has that twist? For us, it was Victoria, my housekeeper for a decade, loyal, organized, and, as it turned out, quietly in love with me. She saw Maria as a threat from day one. But it wasn't until Lucas started smiling again that Victoria really got jealous. She dug up Maria's past, tracked down records, and slid a file across my desk one night. "She's not who she says she is," she whispered. "Her real name's Isabel Moore. Lost her license, lost her kid, disappeared after the scandal." My stomach dropped. I tried to push it aside, but the doubt gnawed at me. Was I risking Lucas's fragile progress for a stranger with secrets? I called a private investigator needed the truth. 3 days later, the file confirmed it all. That night, I called Maria into the library. I told her thank you, told her work was done, and asked her to leave. She stood there, eyes wide, hands trembling, asking, "Did I do something wrong?" I couldn't answer. The words stuck in my throat, so I just turned away. She left the house the way she came, quietly, with her old suitcase bumping down the hall, Lucas's world cracking open once more. It was Lucas who shattered the silence. As Maria reached the door, he ran after her, barefoot, sobbing. "Don't go, Maria. Don't leave me." He clung to her, and for a moment, I thought about stopping all. But Victoria's words were loud in my head. "You can't trust someone like her." Maria pried Lucas's arms from her dress, kissed his forehead, and disappeared into the night. Lucas collapsed in the hallway, howling for her to come back, but she was already gone. That night, the house was more silent than ever. Lucas curled up by the window, hollow-eyed, staring into the dark. I stood outside his room, unable to go in, listening to him cry himself to sleep. At 2 in the morning, I heard a soft knock. Lucas stood there, clutching his teddy bear, eyes swollen from crying. "Dad," he whispered, "I brought you something." He handed me a recorder. I pressed play. Victoria's voice crackled through the static. "Don't talk to her. I'll make her disappear. I'll be your mother now." Then Lucas's muffled sobs. "Why do you hate my mom?" Victoria snapped. "Because I'm going to be your father's wife. If she stays, she'll ruin everything." Everything inside me went cold. I ran to Lucas's room. "Did you hear what was on that?" He nodded, eyes clear for the first time. "I know. I recorded it. She said if I told, Maria would disappear forever." Next morning, the PI called voice urgent. Turns out, Maria, Isabel, had been set up. The other woman in the malpractice case was the real culprit, but Maria got blamed. The evidence was airtight. She was innocent the whole time. I grabbed my coat, woke Lucas, and we drove across town, rain washing the city clean. Maria opened her door, looking thinner but still gentle. I handed her the file. "I know everything now. I was wrong. I'm so sorry. Please come home." Lucas ran to her, sobbing, and Maria dropped to her knees, hugging him so tight I could barely breathe. She didn't say she forgave me, just nodded, packed her things, and came back with us. When we got home, Victoria was waiting, face pale, voice shaking. "Mr. Walker, she can't come back." I told her it was over, that she'd lied, that she'd hurt my family for the last time. I fired her right there in the hallway. When the door closed behind her, Maria finally smiled. It wasn't big, but it was real. I used every connection I had to reopen Maria's old case. 3 months later, the court cleared her name. She got her honor back, and more than that, she got her daughter Emma back, too. The years since then have been different. The house isn't cold anymore. Lucas and Emma run through the garden, laughter bouncing off the walls. Maria and I sit on the porch, watching them chase butterflies, our hands intertwined, both of us a little more whole. Lucas snaps a photo, his favorite thing now, and every time I look at it, I see a family that survived the worst and found their way back to the light. So let me ask you, because I've been on both sides judged, and judging, what would you have done if you were me? Would you have trusted a stranger with a broken past? Or let fear and doubt keep your family in the dark? Drop your thoughts below, share your own story, or just let me know where you're watching from. Because sometimes the hardest thing to build isn't a skyscraper, it's a second chance. And sometimes the bravest thing is believing people can be more than their worst day.